Hello and welcome back to No Limit Drag Racing 2.0. Now in this video, we're going to be revisiting my basically ground up Mark III Supra build to see if we can make it any faster. And this involved a lot of, honestly, going into test and tune, doing a pass, ever so slightly adjusting something, going back in, doing another pass, slightly adjusting something, going back in, doing another pass, and then slightly adjusting another thing, and then y'all get the idea. It goes on and on and on and on. And this car was honestly a little bit of almost a personal project for me. And I don't know why I decided to take this on in terms of comparison to some of the other cars. But I think this one in particular was, a particularly interesting project because a lot of people kind of, like I said in my first Mark III Supra video, a lot of people sidelined this car. Although I will say when that video went out, there were people in the comments of that video saying a lot of things like, oh, you essentially don't know how to tune. These are everywhere. They all run 5.5s. And I'm like, do they? Because after a lot of the tuning that I did in this video, I got this thing to where it was a fairly consistent 5.7, and that was decent enough to win a lot of the races in this video. So I think the 5.5 that quote unquote everybody is supposedly running isn't exactly everybody. But I think again, that just proves that anytime that you do any kind of project on the internet, there's always going to be people that are going to tell you you're either doing it wrong or you're below the quote unquote level that, oh, well, everyone else is at this level, so why aren't you? When in reality, that's usually more projection than it is anything else, because honestly, a lot of the people that I still end up racing in this game usually run, at least people online, unless it's like a $20,000 race, which a lot of the 20,000 races are the people that are running the 5.6s, the 5.5s. But a lot of the 100, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, those races, on the other hand, are a lot of the people that are running 5.7s, 5.8s. And every once in a while, you will run into someone that's running like, I don't know, maybe it's like a 5.6 car that's doing some online testing. People would do that sometimes. Maybe it's a high five, like 5.5s car, like a 5.59 or a 5.5, I don't know, 8. I think the fastest thing I've gone up against as of late was running like a 5.58, which is extremely fast. But honestly, you'll never get better if you don't, well, for one, you'll never get better if you don't practice your tuning. And also, a lot of it is just trial and error, see, adjust something a little bit, go test it, see if it worked or if it didn't work. And then if it did, maybe do it a little bit more, and then just keep following that train until it starts to affect the car negatively again. And then you'll be like, okay, well, I've pushed this about as far as I want to push it. Now let me figure out what I can push next. At least that's my personal approach to tuning in this game, although I'm sure everyone has their own approaches because different approaches work better for different people. Now, the biggest issue, or rather one of the biggest issues that I was having with this car at this particular stage was there's a lot of bounce in the front, which I really wanted to address because it was hurting this car tremendously. And we did get the chance to dial out, I would say probably most of it, although I don't think we got all of it for sure. And I know that as time kind of goes on and we figure more things out, I'm sure we'll be able to dial out more of that bounce. But at this stage, I was kind of just throwing different things at the wall with the tune to see what would stick. And I didn't necessarily want to be, super nervous to try stuff that seemed a little iffy at the time. Because even if it seems a little iffy, you can still try it. And if it just doesn't work at all, then you can be like, okay, well, we're not going to mess with any of that. However, if it does work, it gives you, something that you can maybe follow, something that you can maybe look at and be like, oh, okay, so we've got a little bit of a clue here as to how we can either dial out some of this issue we're having, or we can maybe make this car a little bit faster here or a little bit faster over here. Or maybe you want it to wheelie less. Maybe you want the weight balance to be shifted a little bit, but you don't necessarily know how to do that without negatively affecting the car in other areas. And the honest answer to all of that, or rather to figuring all of that out, is to just try it. Literally try just about whatever, even if it seems like kind of a stupid idea. Because even the ideas that seem a little stupid at the time, honestly, it might end up being an idea that turned out good in the end. So honestly, you never know. You could end up running into the key thing that gives you the edge that the car needed. And going up against this R34 kind of had me really worried because I hadn't done any races online at all yet when I was filming this episode. I hadn't done any online races like the day I filmed this. So this was literally my first one. And I know the R34s are really fast. I know there's a lot of really fast tunes for them also out there. And so I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna lose. And to my genuine surprise, I was nowhere near as far behind as I thought I was going to be. I was actually just about neck and neck with the R34. And you can say what you will about how oh, well, that was just a slow R34. Your Supra wouldn't last a second against this one or this one or this one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a little bit of an impression of a typical No Limit comment section. Well, if that was my R34, I would have gapped you by bus lengths. I just want you to be aware of how slow your car actually is. Not only that, did you know that I'm in a tuning group? I'm in a tuning group where the minimum required time is 5.50. So all of our cars are technically faster than yours. And not only are they all faster, but they're also just all better because your tunes are terrible, just like your cars. And to be honest, I'm only being half satirical with that because some of the comments that I get are absolutely wild. People will get so mad if you say that a certain time is quote unquote oh, that's pretty fast. They'll start foaming at the mouth and they'll be like, well, actually, no, you don't even know what fast is. That's not fast at all. That's technically really slow. You should just quit the game entirely. And I'm not even joking. I had someone tell me not even all that long ago that, oh, not only can you not call any of these cars fast, but if you're not running faster than I think it was what did they say? A 560. They were like, oh, you should just stop posting videos about No Limit altogether. And I'm like, are you that insecure about your car or that insecure about something else entirely? Although you never really know with comment sections anywhere on the internet. Sometimes they can be fairly chill. And then other times they can be absolutely wild. And to be honest, I've actually seen some of the worst ones on Facebook, not even on YouTube, which is kind of interesting because a lot of the time on Facebook, it's people's actual profiles and they're still out here being as wild as they would be on YouTube or some other website where they would normally be under a username and not their actual name, but they'll still get so wild. And I'm sure that there are some people out there that just genuinely don't care what they say. And it's not even I'm upset or offended by any of it because it's just honestly funny to me. But what cracks me up about so much of the comments that I see, or rather so many of the comments that I see, is the fact that so many of them are so incredibly intense over a mobile game based around drag racing, which, y'all, I don't know about you, but that seems a little wild to me. I don't know, it just really seems a little wild to me to get that angry at someone over a drag racing game that you play on your phone. Also, random side note, I fully expected that Datsun to walk me because a lot of the Datsuns I see are genuinely explosively fast. Although, not only did it not walk me, it was also just really slow. And I don't know if that was because of the tune or because of the driver, or maybe a combination of the two. However, these last couple of races were a genuinely good time, and I hope y'all enjoy them. And with that, that is where we are going to leave the progress of our Mark III Supra build, and I hope y'all enjoyed.